Welcome back. This is Gamescom 2019. We are here in Cologne. Simon is here and Randy is here. Randy Varnell. A big applause for Randy Varnell, please. He is. You have a really specific, really hard for me to understand title of your job description.
I do. The easiest job description for me is head of world development at Gearbox, and basically I run the story group for all of our games. We write the stories, we make the characters, we work with all of our designers to be sure that the games have a rich and compelling story. So yeah, and recently did that for Borderlands 3.
First question, did you invent that title for yourself?
I would like to say yes, but
I want to be, I take that word and that. But I mean, it's necessary, right? You're growing.
I think the title I had previously, in fact, about a month ago, was managing producer of narrative, which is
nice.
a big
managing narrative producer. It sounds pretty cool.
But Gearbox, you know, titles kind of don't matter. We just do a lot of good work with a lot of good people. I've been there for 10 years now, and have had the privilege to both produce and direct different games. I was a creative director on Battleborn just a few years ago, which close to our heart, didn't quite do what we wanted, but it was a really fun game to work on. And I was a design producer on Borderlands 2. I worked on Brothers in Arms. I worked on a bunch of stuff at Gearbox. It's been a lot of fun working at the studio.
And
I would have one question. How important is a narrative in a loot shooter? I mean, I know it's important because in Borderlands it's a great, rich story, but would you expect that?
Well, I think that narrative is important for everything. You know, certainly we've gone quite far with Borderlands, and we've even come a long way since Borderlands 1. You know, this is the 10th year of the release of Borderlands 1. It released in 2009. And Borderlands 1, I like to say, is like the condensed version of the important story elements of the universe. You know, you're a treasure hunter. There's treasures in a vault. Yeah. You're going to find a key. You're going to open the vault. You're going to kill the monster. You're going to get the treasure. It's kind of the quintessential monster story in all of the games. But Borderlands 2 expanded on that, and Borderlands 3 even more. But at the end of the day, you know, I actually did a keynote here at DevCom a couple of days ago, and was talking about the building the story for Borderlands 3 and the narrative. And one of the things we talked about is that you know, anyone can kind of make a game and do all that, and there are a lot of cool, important parts of that there, you know, that are gamey. Yeah. We've got guns, we've got monsters, we got bandits, we got psychomaths, we got vaults, we got vault monsters, we got all that stuff.
I like all that stuff.
Cars.
Hit me.
But at the end of the day, when you really talk to fans and you ask them what do they love about Borderlands, what do they love about games, they'll start naming characters. Oh, I love Handsome Zero. Jack. I love Handsome Jack. I love Lilith. I love Maya. I love
Tales from the Borderlands. It was really
Tales from the Borderlands was all story, right? But the characters is really the key to everything. So characters need some development. They need some story. They need some conflict. And I think what's cool is you take Borderlands, which at the heart is a really good gamey game. I mean, it's a really good just action shooter game with loot, and it's got all that all of that is pretty fun by itself. And then you add a cool story on top of it. Like let's add in some cool alien artifacts. Let's give you some small chests and some big chests to open up and get that treasure from.
But Borderlands is a world where anything can happen. It's just open a vault. I don't know what's in it.
Who knows? Yeah,
I don't know what. I still don't know what's in the end of Tales from the Borderlands. I mean, where is it? Wasn't it?
It was well, I think it was the Vault of the Traveler, right? If you remember right.
Yeah, but what happened afterwards?
Oh, I can't explain that.
Okay,
that's good. That was pretty good, Simon.
Nice. I either can or won't. Like, it's like. There's a certain part of like the alien Iridian artifact mystery in the franchise that is more of the mystical part, right? And some of that, we just love mystery. Like we have some answers back, you know, that we hold close to our chest back there, but so much of the fun in exploring a world and opening a story and unpackaging it is learning a little bit at a time and all of that. So, and every time, you know, kind of just good narrative development, every time you answer a big question, you want to ask 3 more, right? You never want that mystery to end. Like my favorite one is at the end of Borderlands 2. If you played all the way through Borderlands 2, you know, you fight Jack. Jack, you go to the warrior, you fight the warrior, the big vault monster, right? And you have a choice to actually kill or not kill Jack. We don't force you to, but a lot of people do. and then you get the credits and all that, and you get to loot. And at the very end, we play this really cool, at the end of the credits, this little cool cinematic where Claptrap has the vault key, the thing that opened the vault to the warrior, and he charges it up and this map pops out. And for the first time ever at the end of Borderlands 2, we insinuate that there's not just vaults on this desert planet Pandora where all the bandits live, but there are vaults scattered across the universe. And for 7 years, fans have had to live with that mystery of where the hell are they going? What are they doing?
Pretty long time for a cliffhanger then.
It is a long cliffhanger.
Yeah, but you're still back at Pandora, right? In Borderlands
we start
3.
there.
You start there.
But in Borderlands, but one of the big things we wanted to do in Borderlands 3 is pay off some of that mystery. So you absolutely get to go to other planets. You get to visit other locations and explore kind of this growing galaxy with what's going on there, right? And but you know what? It's funny you mentioned that. When we were writing the story of Borderlands 3, we were so excited about this. Oh, we finally get to get off Pandora and see other stuff. We actually started on, we have this big city planet called Promethea. And it literally is a big urban area, skyscrapers and city streets and all that going on. And when we first wrote the first draft of the story, we started the game there because we're like, you know what, new players are going to right into the new. And we started testing that story out, and people are like, man, it doesn't feel right.
That's not Borderlands.
How do you test that?
Well, we actually have a user research department in the house. We have a guy, one of my great friends, John Cohen, who has a PhD in behavioral psychology, Dr. Cohen.
Oh, damn it! And he can be a really good evil guy. Right?
Oh, he could. Yeah. He's I don't know if I should say this. He's my dungeon master, which means different thing in different contexts. But,
Don't really, ask, don't tell.
Right. But really good gamer guy. But we bring in users from across the area, some who played Borderlands and some who haven't. We let them play bits of the game in development. Then in the last few months of the game, they come in for 2 weeks at a time and play long. They really play through the whole game.
Nice.
And then as they play through, we get to watch them and we get to see what they're doing, and then we get to sit down and ask them questions. So from the very early parts of game development, we bring in these users and we're like, okay, what did you think? And like, I don't think Lilith would say that, man. You know, and like, okay, all right. Well, you may be right. We'll think about that. So we really listen to them. I mean, we also listen to our fans on forums, on Twitter, on Twitch, and all the places that people go out and play.
But I have to ask the question, isn't that kind of annoying, because in the first part you can do whatever you want, you invent the story as you go. If you say that character has to be that way, he talks like that, I know it because I fucking invented him, and then on the next part, people who played your stuff say, well, I don't know if that's the right choice for the character. Isn't that, I mean, of course it's cool, it's creatively cool working with community, but it can also be like a hassle.
You know, there's a kind of a give and a take, but I really think it's a beautiful relationship. You know, we don't have a job as game developers if we don't have fans. So while we do want to always surprise them, we do want to introduce new things and new elements. Like in Borderlands 3, we introduced brand new villains, the Calypso twins. We want to come up with new stuff, and we absolutely want to do that. But when we have this is the third installment, major installment. I mean, that's not even including Borderlands, the pre-sequel and Tales of the Borderlands and the, 70,000 DLCs that we've done for the game. We've done so much, and when you give that character to the fans, and when you see the amazing response, like even here, I've already met fans cosplaying several of our characters. You could go online and find people who have tattooed versions of our characters on their bodies.
That's crazy, right?
It's nuts, but when you have that relationship with the fans, I love, Vault Symbol out there, good job. We don't want to ruin something that they've given their hearts to. You know, we've given our hearts to the characters. They've shared that, and
it doesn't belong to you anymore. It belongs to everyone.
We can guide the process, but we want to avoid doing things that would dramatically falsify that previous relationship with the character or mess it up. So it's not saying that we can't, but we do. There's a great quote that we share with our writers around there. It actually comes from Neil Gaiman, one of my favorite fantasy writers ever.
Nice.
And
American Gods.
When American Gods and Good Omens. He and Terry Pratchett, who is my absolute favorite writer forever.
And he has a very good masterclass on YouTube, Neil Gaiman, actually, to learn how to
He has a really good quote, and I never can remember it verbatim. It goes basically like this: when you share work with fans, if they tell you that something is wrong, they are almost certainly right.
Because
if
they feel it.
And if they
right?
tell you how to fix what is wrong, they are almost certainly wrong.
Nice.
I've
Right?
heard that before.
And I think it's really good wisdom for us. Like, we have to listen very carefully. And I think it's the way we get better and we improve. A lot of the work that we did on Borderlands 3. So Borderlands 3 has, a new team of writers. I've had the privilege to work with some really good guys. Anthony Birch worked on Borderlands 2, a really amazing writer. Mikey Newman on Borderlands 1. When we did Battleborn, we brought in a guy, Aaron Lindy, who is tremendous. But the guys working on Borderlands 3 right now is a new team of writers. Sam Winkler, Danny Homan, Connor Cleary, names that most people until this moment have never heard or thought about. They're really great, talented guys, and they are all Borderlands fans.
Nice.
And so it's been a really interesting experience of watching these talented writers who are fans, and they feel very protective about the franchise, right? They listen. Sam, right now, he'll probably be watching this interview, and I know he's sitting there with his tweet deck right there, like literally listening to what people are saying about and how fans are responding to what they're learning about Borderlands. And that loop of understanding what themes are important to our fans, how the characterizations. But you're right. It's not an absolute definitive. We don't write everything based on we can't go that way because fans are going to be disappointed. We have to take some risks sometime, and we have to tell some stories. And I think part of every good story is they have conflict. And conflict sometimes results in unfortunate results. In Borderlands 2, I'll remind everybody, look, one of my favorite parts of that is while ultimately the story of Borderlands 2 is a simple revenge story. Handsome Jack screws you over in the beginning. He tries to off you. He blows up your train, right? And all of the game is really you just trying to get him back while he talks in your face about, I got this pony.
He's a pretty good villain.
He's really good, right? But in the middle of it, Handsome Jack he's at the beginning of the game, he's really funny. He talks about Butt Stallion, he eats potato chips, he does a bunch of dumb stuff. And halfway through the game, we wanted you have to up the stakes. You have to give him some teeth as a villain. You have to threaten the player. He kills Roland, and then even more shocking to that, like he kills Bloodwing, Mordecai's pet bird, and fans are like, "What are you doing?" But it gives us a chance, even in a game that's as silly and weird and as funny as Borderlands, to have some emotional depth. And then when we came back through Tiny Tina, I love the Tiny Tina DLC, Sultan Dragon Keep, that we set it in kind of this weird Dungeons and Dragons world. But Tiny Tina gets to actually deal with the death of Roland, who is her mentor and her friend. And she's writing this story, and she cast him as the handsome paladin. And these are all spoilers, but it's been 7 years, so I think we're okay.
I think it's okay with
that.
But we have to threaten those characters, so you have to find that. And I can't spoil anything for Borderlands 3, but you'll find a lot of the same type of elements in that game. So you want some drama, you want some threat. I think Handsome Jack is a hard act to follow. And I think the Calypso twins in Borderlands 3 are going to do it.
This is a question from our forum, from our community. So they specifically said that Handsome Jack is one of the best villains
ever.
Of all times. Right?
Yeah. So, not only Borderlands, it's just a great written villain.
Exactly. So is it not pressuring, and how does that inflict the design of the Calypso twins, for example? So,
absolutely.
So is it like you have to be at least amount X of Handsome Jack to be aware of,
But you don't want to be a ripoff or
that's right.
Exactly.
something. Yeah.
You guys, maybe you should just join the writing team. You guys,
let's go. Fuck this stream.
It's over.
These are exactly the conversations that we sat around the table and had right at the beginning of Borderlands, right? In fact, another fun little development note. The early versions of the Borderlands script actually had Handsome Jack as the ultimate villain of Borderlands 3, and we were like, well, I guess we're going to do it because, even though we killed him in Borderlands 2, and then let you kill him again in Tales of the Borderlands, and then let you play him in pre-sequel. Well, maybe we're stuck with this, and we were all like, well, he's really great. And then there's a really timely video. I talk about listening to our fans. There was a YouTube video that came out. There was 7 things we don't want to see in Borderlands 3. and I think one of number 2 or number 3 is I think Handsome Jack needs a break, right? So okay, maybe we should. So, but when we sat down to think, well, how do we replace that? We had this vague notion then of the Calypso twins, and okay, we got to do something different. So maybe it's not one villain, maybe it's 2. We'll make them siblings. That's kind of cool. And then we started to really look at what, deconstructed, what were the things we really loved about Handsome Jack? Well, he's in your face all the time. He always shows up and he taunts you. Okay, that's cool. He's funny. Funny villains are kind of funny. It fits well in a Borderlands game, right? okay, he's got some threat, he's got some power, he owns Hyperion Corporation. Oh, okay, those are cool. And we took a lot of those same elements and like, okay, they're twins. They're power. Okay, they're Tyrene Calypso is a siren.
Yeah.
Sirens are, magic users in the Borderlands universe. So, okay, for the first time, one of these...
There's only 6 sirens, right?
Oh, very good, Borderlands fan. Yeah. Good job. 6 sirens at any time. There can only be, and Tyrene is now one of them. That's a big deal.
That's a hint.
So they're very powerful. They've got this... And even more than that, we're like, what can we do to really... What's the thing? We need some secret sauce to make it really, really click. And we're like, oh, we'll make them live streamers.
Live streamers.
Okay, I love
so, but not the good live streamers that we love. We're not making, because like influencers and live streamers, what you guys do is really important to our industry. We love you guys. I mean, I wouldn't be here if I didn't love sitting here doing it. But we started to dream. We started to imagine, what if you guys took your billions of followers, right, and you told them to like, hey, everybody, go just rob someone this afternoon and send me a €5 note.
Okay, also ihr habt es gerade vielleicht gehört.
Disclaimer.
Vielleicht könnt ihr ganz kurz rausgehen und jedem 5 € nehmen.
Yeah, could you please
und dann wieder hier hinkommen
and just drop the money here?
And Randy get a 20% split.
Right. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Is this the deal?
Yeah.
Oh good. Okay.
They're on it.
Yeah, we're going worldwide now. Or Rocket Beans. Here we go.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Tell us all the secrets, man.
But I mean, imagine that world, right? Imagine what it would look like. So
it's a good idea.
That's what the Calypso twins have done, and they've unified the crazy, wild, psycho bandits that have kind of been our just loose bandits across Borderlands.
They're just followers.
Yeah, and now they're using them, and they're like, you guys all do our bidding. And of course, bandits aren't smart enough to say no, so they'll do anything. Yeah. And so it really kind of ups the stakes for the players and do that. And I think you're really going to find that their particular blend of, like they literally pull out cameras at certain points during big plot, and the camera's flying around taking footage of them kicking your ass at certain points.
But you should add filters, like Instagram filters, like funny ears. So
that would be
you
nice.
really should add some filters to swipe at.
I'm trying to think if we did, because there are some times, I mean, we wanted to create that whole experience. So there are times in the game that they're like TV monitors around the world, and you come by and they put up a video that they've cut together.
Oh, nice.
And sometimes it's about things that have happened in the game. So you'll get to see that and experience it. But they are in that same way that Jack was. They're in your face. They're taunting you. They're very full of themselves. And then I think what I'm really proudest about, and I can't give a lot of details here because I don't want to spoil the story for fans.
I think you have to play that to really get into it, right?
But they take it a step or two further than even Jack did. So, when you get into the ultimate conflict of the game, they go even further than that. But Borderlands is a big game. They're not the only villain you have. I mean, we actually think about the game in multiple acts, and a lot of people have seen that you talked about starting on Pandora. We've shown that already. You get to start on Pandora. You actually get to earn the spaceship that gets you off the planet, so it feels really good there. But that's even just what we call the prologue internally. That's like a 3 or 4 hour prologue to get you started on this really, really huge game that's full of story. So there's multiple acts, and every act has its own heroes and villains that are all kind of tied into the bigger plot. It's a big, big story. We've never made a story this big before. Like Borderlands 2, I'm so thrilled at how well received it's been. People, even before we started promoting Borderlands 3, tons and tons of people are still playing Borderlands 2. They're still digging it. They're getting into that. We get tons of questions from fans all over asking about stuff, and that's certainly just warmed the hearts of the team and inspired us to really go even further. But Borderlands 3 is a massive game. If you like the universe, if you like exploring it, you'll get to more than you've ever done before.
It's coming out really soon, right? So
it's September 13th. Just 24 days from now. We are right around the corner. Friday the 13th. In September. Yeah. So a really good release date for Borderlands game.
Your team's already on holiday, or is it just on the final?
No.
The regional team is done.
There ain't no rest for the wicked. If I want to stay on brand here. We've already announced, and we haven't given a lot of details, we've already announced there's a season pass that will have DLCs. If you know anything about the Borderlands franchise, you know that we never stop.
Yeah.
In fact, just this year, we released DLC 5 for Borderlands 2 because we can't ever stop.
It's still selling, right?
It is. I mean, that's still out. It's doing really well. So we have already started on the new narrative DLC for Borderlands 3. So literally, we like, okay, that one's in the box. All right, everybody go take a potty break and get back. We're going to start right up. So yeah, some of us have been working on the DLC for a while now, and so those are going to come out. The more details are going to come out of that in the next month or two. But there is a lot of content still to happen. So that season pass, all I will say is, dude, if our plans are even a fraction of what we're looking at with the DLC, there's so much content left to sell and so much story left to come out for Borderlands, and it's gonna be amazing.
I mean, this is your passion, right? So you want to fill up this world with everything, but you have to, business-wise, kind of cut it into DLCs and stuff like that. So,
well,
is it like that you kind of have to.
I wouldn't even say cut it into DLCs, right? Because Gearbox, one of the things, I know a lot of studios have been criticized, like, oh, you're holding content back, and you'd have to do that, like. We hold nothing back.
Okay.
Like, we literally put everything we can, and we like, if you talk to our producers, they're like, stop putting content in the game. Like, our developers, and this is the biggest team we've ever had, literally to the last day, we're like, okay, I'm going to physically cut off your access to check in things to the build. You're done. We've got to ship this game at some point. Honestly, we are cramming content into the game until the last moment, and then like, okay, the main game's done. Okay, can we start on DLC now? Okay, good. And then we do more because we know that like, it's a huge, like I said, bigger than Borderlands 2. Borderlands 2 at launch, I remember because we had the Brady Games guys, God rest their souls. When they were doing the hint guide for Borderlands 2, they came in the office and they did a complete playthrough to the entire Borderlands 2 game. And at launch, it was an 80-hour playthrough to play all of the main and side missions.
80 hours.
80 hours. Now, we released DLCs on top of that, and then we increased the power levels. So I think it ultimately, I think the speedrunners in Borderlands 2 got that way down at some point. But at launch, it was a huge game, right? It's a very, very large amount of content. And that's one time through. That's not if you did True Vault Hunter mode and played the in-game content or played the raid bosses or any of that stuff. So we're doing all of that plus on Borderlands 2. We've talked about even here at Gamescom, we've just started announcing some of the end content. Not only do we have a huge campaign again, but we're bringing back the Circles of Slaughter, which are good. Mr. Torg is back.
It's like
Explosions!
the Horde mode, right?
Yeah. And we're going to do that kind of wave arena type of combat.
Yeah.
And then a new thing we're introducing called Proving Grounds. So those aliens I was talking about earlier, the Iridian, had the Proving Grounds, and they're going to let you go kind of test your skill in this kind of tiered Proving Ground as you work yourself way up different difficulty levels through multiple Proving Grounds, and of course earning loot along the way. But we have even more than that we haven't announced yet that we're going to talk about in the next couple of weeks. So
feel free, man.
A lot of
it seems like we could just leave you here for a few days and just leave everything. Okay, keep the camera rolling. Just keep some food rolling in, maybe to keep you hydrated.
There is a point. Yeah, there is a point that the snipers start shooting. Right? Like, those
spoiler snipers.
I guess Gearbox have creative ways of snipering, right? So
oh yeah,
it's not just one shot. It's like multiple shots.
Yeah. Multiple shots, and I'll catch on fire and then freeze, and then the radiation will spread to you guys. It'll be amazing.
Oh man, it must be so hard. So I read through the questions we got in our forum, right?
Okay.
So but actually, you answered a lot of questions for that.
Oh, I talk a lot.
Like a shotgun. You're like an info shotgun.
Exactly.
That never
info
stops.
shotgun. I like
Legendary
that.
loot.
That's my new title. Info shotgun.
No, what I really love about you is you talk about characters, you talk about narrative, obviously because it's your job. But you talk about story, the world, the building, everything. But you don't like we have 1 billion guns and guns and shooter guns and guns that shoot guns, and you're not only talking about the features and we have more of everything because it's a loot shooter. You could do that, but obviously the world means much to you, and that's a good sign for a good series.
It takes everything together, and I think, like I tell a lot of people, like, after we released Borderlands 2, if you look at my Steam profile, I have another 400 hours playing Borderlands 2. I don't know how much I played before we released it, but a lot, because I love the game. This is a game that even if I had not worked on, I would have loved to play and jump in and play. Like the RPG elements, the min-maxing, the loot is so amazing. Yeah. But to me, the story is cool too. I love to be running through and just to collect the guns and stuff, and then someone cracks a really dumb joke. Like, I was, at Borderlands 2, I was more on the design side than the narrative side, but I got to name a couple of things. Like my proudest moment was there's an area you can go in Borderlands 2 called the Orchasm, and in the Orchasm is a character called the Innuendo Bot 9000 that gives you some very sexually themed missions and all of that. And then we at Gearbox, we're constantly trying to make each other laugh, and every time we do, it ends up somewhere in the game, whether it's embarrassing or not. So it's been really cool. It's
nice.
I love that level of entertainment, and I like to giggle at stuff, and I like stories, but Borderlands to me has always been kind of the game that has it all. Great gameplay, great characters, a good story. It makes you laugh. Humor's hard, man.
Yeah, but
emotional
humor's really hard. And I know not all of our jokes resonate with everyone, but man, I think we're really funny, you know?
Yeah,
I think we're really funny.
It's really hard to make
good, right?
a threatening and funny villain, and you did that like multiple times. And that's really that's a thing. That's really, really hard to do in films, in narratives everywhere.
So Handsome Jack is not dead, right?
Oh, he's totally
No,
dead.
he's
totally
dead, but he may
He's
exist
turbo
in a
dead.
digital version or a Mac version anywhere. He could be.
It's so good. It's so good.
Well, he's,
Nobody knows. Maybe not even he knows.
Let me ask you
All right.
another question, please. So, I mean, you're in an Epic Store. This is one of the questions as well.
Sure.
Have you thoughts of kind of, you have this really rich, furnished world, right? From your hands and from the hands of everyone at Gearbox. Have you ever thought about making it kind of public, that people can really wandering around? Have you always thought about MMO it out, right?
Man, yes.
Because you know,
Yes.
from a writer's perspective, that's another challenge, right? Whole other challenge, right?
Yes,
I mean, it could be a social platform of some kind.
Yeah, in fact, I think literally, so I joined Gearbox in 2009. I worked on the very, very end of Borderlands. I wasn't on the team, I was working on another project, but I got to test and give some feedback. And even at that point, they're like, man, should we turn this into an MMO? And I think for me, when I look at Borderlands where it is now, it already has, other than like the big lobby areas and the big things that you've seen some other looter shooters do in other games, but Borderlands really is my little MMO. When I think of how I play a MMO, when I go to play, World of Warcraft, or I'm actually just started at Final Fantasy 14, trying that out. I'm late to the game.
Good luck, man.
Well, thank you very much. I'm completely lost, but I'm looking forward to being lost some more. When I get into those games, usually the way I play is I have 2 or 3 good friends that usually jump in with me in those games. And we'll go, and every night we'll go and we'll get our quest. We'll go do a couple of quests. We'll come back to the hub. We'll turn some stuff in. We'll sell it. All that. And that is the loot for Borderlands 2. You have Sanctuary in Borderlands 2, and you're going to have Sanctuary 3, the spaceship in Borderlands 3. Ooh. And you go and you get those quests. You go out and you do a few hours of adventure, and that's cool. That's enough for tonight, or like 6 hours if you can't stop or whatever. And you get to that stop, you come back and you do it, and you come back and do that over and over. And every night my character's more powerful, and I'm thinking I need to change my build here. I'm going to read a hint guide on this, or I need to find this specific gun, or this specific shield, or this specific class mod. Like, it has all of the components the way I usually play an MMO, so it's already most of the way there without the expense and trouble of having to build like servers and server farms. Exactly. And because when we do that, we have to send more cost to the customer. We have to find a way to pay for servers and pay for all that. So it's definitely a topic that has come up multiple times, and it's with this game, it's going to be very similar to Borderlands 2, and we're going to talk about a couple of those additional things in the next few weeks of how we're kind of extending the gameplay. But, I don't know. I wouldn't say I would rule it out forever in the future on there. But we're pretty happy with where it is right now, and according to the way fans have played it for the last 7 years, man. Yeah. So are they, and we don't want to run a good thing.
Yeah, must be interesting, right? To have maybe in the future the possibility, but from the working perspective, it's a whole different story, I think, to write for an MMO. Than for that, right? I'm totally on you with, we have max of 4 players, your friends, right? Your closest friends, and you can have exactly that fun that comes out from MMO. But maybe someday in the future, it would be nice to have a kind of a raid where you have to be 20 people to. There are
many people at Gearbox who would love to see that type of thing in the games that we make. So, again. I never say never, but that's it definitely is close to our heart. We'll see.
I think it's hard for in a team that big. It's hard. Let's say like a party of 20. It's hard for every individual player to be important for the storyline, for the match up, for everything. If you're just one of the guys who's just on the back and doing nothing because you're not needed, you won't have as much fun, right? So you want to be like an important part of the story, and reducing it to like 4 or 5 or 6, it compresses like the experience, maybe?
It does.
I'm just guessing.
No, I think you're right on that. Big raid design, you think of raid design, you think of big raid design, and you really start having to think, WoW has really set the stage for a lot of us. I know a lot of different developers have tried different tactics on it, but it kind of comes down to that holy trinity. You got your tank, your support, and your damage on there, and different flavors of that. And then you want to throw in mechanics for the boss that certain classes are really good at caring about, and others aren't. We've done a lot more of that in Borderlands 3 than we ever have in other games.
Oh, really?
So I think you're going to see with the boss fights, there's a lot more diversity in the way that...
more technical and more focused on gameplay then, all right.
Yeah, there's even a really great one that we've shown off. There's an early boss fight that's come up with a dude named Mouthpiece. It's in that very first part, and Mouthpiece is literally the spokesperson for the Calypso twins on Pandora. And when you get down to his arena, he's got this, it's kind of all religiously themed. He's got this big pipe organ up there, and he turns around and he's, you will know death, pain, whatever. And he jumps at you, but his whole room is surrounded full of speakers, and it's this really great. It's kind of a classic raid example of we want to kind of electrify or create damage volumes a part of the room. So, the speakers at certain times he'll go and he'll attack you, and he has a shield he'll hold up for a while, and he'll go invulnerable, and then he'll go into a stance, and then the speakers will start to light up, and if you're standing in front of him when the speakers blast out, it does damage. So you really have to watch your position. You have to watch your, where you stand and know what phase of the fight he's on and what he's going on. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just the first kind of big boss that you're going to fight there.
It explains you that you got deeper into it.
And we go further and further and further from there. I've played every boss that we have in the game, and there are some really, really, really good fights that are going to have challenging dynamics.
Right.
And again, I don't want to overspeak too much, but just keep your ears open the next couple of weeks for some of the other things that we're going to talk about. There's more to talk about with that kind of group community online.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. But we want people to play together. Borderlands you can absolutely, by the way, play it solo offline. You can play it split screen. We're still supporting split screen because we have fans that love split screen. Couch co-op.
You should keep it that way.
By the way,
couch gaming is relevant.
Yeah, it is. It is a pain in the ass to implement, because it is.
We gamers don't care.
I know it.
We just want you to do it. And we give you money for it.
It must be.
And we love you so much that we keep doing it.
Okay.
So, but it is
too hard. It's like two streets. Why is that hard?
It is because it halves the performance on each one of those things, right? It's twice the rendering. So
I don't understand, but I want it.
Do you want split screen, or do you want more than 5 frames a second?
Yeah, I think every developer was happy as fuck when we changed from split screen to online gaming, because finally you don't have to create an engine that supports
that's right.
that.
And we support both still, so I guess we're just crazy.
Yeah, you're definitely crazy. I can give you that. But we don't have time anymore to experience your craziness. So maybe you'll come back next year with another
absolutely.
project. I'm pretty sure it will be DLC for Borderlands 3.
We will definitely have some DLC to talk about over the next year.
So it's 24 days, right?
24 days, September 13th.
Count them.
Friday the 13th, just coming up really quick.
Ladies and gentlemen, Randy Varnell from Gearbox, Borderlands 3. He's world narrative designer, president of the Gearbox Pandorian
All the
States.
words. Yeah, I love that. That's my new title. There we go.
Let's keep that. That's a keeper. Und jetzt gibt's für euch Death Stranding mit Fabian und Ilias. Die haben das wohl gespielt oder gesehen oder was? Nein, gespielt nicht.
Ich wollte gerade sagen.
Die haben nur irgendwo einen Trailer an der Wand gesehen und wollen jetzt hier erzählen. Vielleicht ist das Spiel auch falsch. Wir erfahren das gleich von den beiden. Bis dann.
Tschüss.